Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We're going to start off today's bulletin with COVID updates. The Drugs Controller General of India has granted regulatory approvals for 3 vaccines. Now, emergency use authorization has been granted to Bharat Biotech's Covaxin for the age group of 6 to 12 years and to Biological E's Corbevax for the age group of 5 to 12. Now, Gujarat-based Zydus Cadilla's 2-dose COVID vaccine was also granted emergency use authorization for 12 years and above population. However, the final decision will be taken by the government's expert body on vaccination to roll out the vaccination drive for this population. Now, at present, India is using Corbevax for the 12 to 14 years age group and Covaxin for the adolescent population. Taking to Twitter, Union Health Minister has said that India's fight against COVID has now become stronger with the recent approvals. Meanwhile, the mask mandate has come back in Karnataka and Chhattisgarh. Karnataka has said that social distancing should be maintained as well. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said that has told the district collectors, in fact, to ensure people wear masks in public spaces, and vaccination coverage was also stepped up. Meanwhile, in IIT-Madras, 32 more people have tested positive for COVID, so the total number has now gone up to 111. Health Secretary Dr. J. Radhakrishnan has advised students on campus to monitor their health and also maintain social distancing. Away from COVID now, on to the Hanuman Chalisa row in Maharashtra after Amravati MP Navneet Rana alleged that she was ill-treated allegedly at a police station. The Home Ministry has now asked Maharashtra state government to submit a factual report on this. Now, Navneet Rana had written to Lok Sabha Speaker Om Prakash Birla after she was arrested in Mumbai along with her husband. Meanwhile, Mumbai Police Commissioner Sanjay Pandey tweeted a video of them drinking tea in the car police station to this allegation, and said, and I quote, "Do we say anything more?" End quote. Now, the Ranas were arrested on the 23rd of April for declaring that they would recite the Hanuman Chalisa outside the residence of Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. Now, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray on Monday issued a warning and said, and I quote, "It's being said that we have ignored Hindutva. Is Hindutva a dhoti or what? If you want to recite Hanuman Chalisa, call and come home. But if you want to resort to Dadagiri, we know how to crumble it." End quote. Now, Maharashtra government had earlier urged the centre to make uniform rules for loudspeakers at religious places as well. And this remark really came in from Home Minister and Aditya Thackeray, Environment Minister as well, right after an all-party meeting in Maharashtra. Meanwhile, according to PTI, the Uttar Pradesh government has ordered for removal of illegal loudspeakers from religious places in the state. Now, the police have been directed to ensure that all illegal loudspeakers were removed from religious places in the state by the 30th of April. Last week, Chief Minister Adityanath had directed that no religious procession should be taken out without permission and that usage of loudspeakers should not inconvenience others. In other news right now, the Supreme Court today questioned the Uttarakhand government over a proposed dharam sansad in Roorkee that was going to be held tomorrow. Now, a bench headed by Justice A.M. Khanwilkar said that if the speaker who is invited to talk at such events has previously made such speeches already, then the state is obligated to take preventive steps to ensure that it does not happen again. Now, the Council of Uttarakhand to this said, and I quote, "If they say Dharam Sansad will be held, we cannot anticipate what will be said," end quote. To this, the bench retorted, and I quote, "But if it is by the same person, then you have to prevent it. Don't make us say things," end quote. Now, it then directed the Uttarakhand government to file an affidavit detailing the preventive measures taken in view of this Dharam Sansad, which is going to be held on Wednesday. Now, the court was hearing a petition seeking a probe into the alleged hate speech targeting the Muslim community delivered at Dharam Sansad that were held in Haridwar and Delhi last year in December. Now, the Supreme Court also today has said that it will consider listing for hearing appeals challenging the Karnataka High Court order in the hijab ban matter. and asked the council who requested it to wait. Now, Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana told senior advocate Meenakshi Arora when she mentioned the matter, and I quote, "I will list, wait for 2 days," end quote. Now, a full bench of the Karnataka High Court had in fact on the 15th of March upheld the hijab ban in the state of Karnataka, stating that wearing hijab is not an essential religious practice in Islam. The Supreme Court also today dismissed a PIL seeking judicial inquiry into incidents of communal violence during Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti in some states. Now, the SC bench said, and I quote, "You want inquiry to be headed by former CJI. Is anybody free? Find out what kind of relief is this. Don't ask for any such reliefs which can't be granted by the court," end quote. There were communal clashes in several states during these two festivals like Gujarat, Goa, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Rajasthan, Maharashtra. All of these states reported communal clashes. Also in the news, an Assam court has rejected Gujarat MLA Jignesh Mevani's bail plea and remanded him in 5 days police custody. Now, Mr. Mevani was rearrested by Assam police after getting bail yesterday, after a fresh case was filed against him under various charges, including assault on a public servant and outraging a woman's modesty. Now, as per the complainant, Mevani had allegedly hurled slang words at her and physically pushed her while they were in the government vehicle on the way from Guwahati airport to Kokrajhar on the 21st of April. Now, earlier, he was arrested and granted bail over alleged defamatory tweets against Prime Minister Modi. Also, the center has blocked 16 YouTube channels, including 6 operating from Pakistan, and a Facebook account for spreading disinformation related to India's national security, foreign relations, and public order. Now, the ministry said multiple India-based YouTube channels were publishing unverified news and videos that had the potential to trigger panic among various sections of the society. Moving on now, after the University Grants Commission and the All India Council for Technical Education advised Indian students to not enroll in universities in Pakistan, the Pakistan Ministry of Foreign Affairs has responded and sought for clarification. Now, in a statement, the ministry has said Pakistan reserves the right to take appropriate measures in response to this openly discriminatory and inexplicable action by India, end quote. Now, the UGC and the AICTE had said earlier that students who have completed degrees from Pakistan will not be eligible for seeking employment or higher studies in India. Now, the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom has recommended to the Biden administration to designate India and 14 other countries as country of particular concern, which is the category of governments performing most poorly on religious freedom criteria. Also on that list are China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, among others. Now, according to PTI, India has in the past said that the American Body on International Religious Freedom has chosen to be guided only by its biases on a matter in which it has no locus standi. Moving on to politics right now, political strategist Prashant Kishor has refused to join the Congress party as a member of its Empowered Action Group 2024. Now, Mr. Kishor said that the Congress party needs leadership and collective will to fix its, and I quote, deep-rooted structural problems, end quote, through transformational reforms. To this, there was a response from the Congress as well. Congress spokesperson Randeep Singh Surjewala has said that the party appreciates Kishor's efforts and suggestions. Meanwhile, in an update to the JNU clash, with the college's registrar earlier saying that the scuffle between students from the ABVP and the JNU VC that took place after some of them objected to the holding of a Havan on the occasion of Ram Navami. Its Vice Chancellor has in fact said that the administration has no idea what was the trigger behind the clashes. She said, and I quote, The campus may be politically charged, but the university is not anti-national, end quote. Now, earlier this month, there was a scuffle between students, and after some of them allegedly objected to the holding of a Havan on the occasion of Ram Navami, others alleged that students were objecting them from having non-veg food on this particular day. Around 15 students were later injured. Moving on now to business news. World's richest person, Elon Musk, has acquired Twitter for $44 billion. Musk had announced his takeover bid on the 14th of April, calling it his best and final offer. Now, today he took to Twitter to say, and I quote, "I hope that even my worst critiques remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means," end quote. Now, upon completion of the transaction, Twitter will become a privately held company. Mr. Musk, who made the shock bid less than 2 weeks ago, said Twitter had tremendous potential that he would unlock. He also called for a series of changes, from relaxing its content restrictions to eradicating fake accounts. The firm initially rebuffed Mr. Musk's bid, but it will now ask shareholders to vote to approve the deal. Moving on to environment news, an extremely important piece of information. The Indian Meteorological Department has said that rain with thunderstorm, lightning, and gusty winds will very likely continue over northeast India. Also, there are heat wave conditions that have also been predicted by the IMD. I'm going to just go over the states that the IMD has mentioned. The IMD says that interior Odisha and Vidarbha will experience heat wave during the next 5 days. Bihar and sub-Himalayan West Bengal will experience heat wave on the 26th and 27th of April. Jharkhand, Gangetic, West Bengal during the 26th and 29th of April 2022. And Gujarat, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh will likely experience heat wave during 27th to 30th of April. Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh from 28th to 30th of April, and Telangana on the 27th and 28th of April. As of today, Delhi had settled at 40.8 degrees Celsius, and a heat wave will see it soaring to 44 degrees Celsius at least by Thursday. That's the prediction. Odisha, taking into consideration all of this, has decided that schools will remain closed till the 30th of April. However, the board exams for standard 10th and 12th will take place as scheduled. In the meantime, West Bengal has issued an advisory to all state schools asking them to shift the primary school's hours to morning, and if not possible, to make adequate arrangements so that children do not fall ill in the scorching heat. Moving on to news coming in from across the globe, starting off with Pakistan. According to a Pakistani newspaper, the Express Tribune, 4 people, including 3 Chinese nationals, were killed in a blast inside Karachi University. The Associated Press has, in the meantime, reported that separatist militant group Balochistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility and said that the attack was carried out by a woman suicide bomber. Meanwhile, it's day 62 of Russia's invasion in Ukraine. UN Secretary has now called for a ceasefire in Ukraine ahead of talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Now, the UN chief later also described discussions with Russian foreign minister as frank, but insisted that he is visiting Moscow as a messenger of peace. Now, this comes after Russia's foreign minister warned of a real threat of World War III breaking out. One piece of good news before we wrap things out here on this bulletin. This comes in from Bengaluru. In a first for a government facility in the whole state of Karnataka, Bengaluru's Victoria Hospital has got a hyperbaric oxygen chamber set up at 3.5 crore rupees. Now, it's an airtight room, basically pressurized with pure oxygen used in the treatment of carbon monoxide poisoning, gangrene, wounds and other conditions as well. Health Minister Sudhakar has stated that it would cost about 3,000 to 4,000 rupees for a 1-hour session, in this particular machine at private hospitals, but the government plans to provide this treatment for free at Victoria Hospital for the benefit of the poor. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.